Hello and welcome to Vancouver Carpenter. Today I'm going to teach you how to coat inside angles by hand with a knife one side at a time. So I have right here a 4-inch putty knife. Now you can do this with a 4, a 5, or a 6. I like to do a 4-inch because it's less sanding, but some people have a difficult time doing it with a knife this small. So you can step it up to a 5 if you're struggling, or even a 6 if you just love to sand drywall. So let's start how I like to coat these. So right now the stage I'm at is I've got my joints coated. So you can see I've got this huge joint coated right here, and that's the stage I like to be at when I start coating my angles by hand. Because when I'm working into stuff, what I do is I try to always work on the side that has a fresh joint if possible. So I'm going to start in this corner. I'm just getting a little bit of mud on the corner of my knife like so, and I'm just going to go down like that until I'm into the joint just a tiny bit. And I'm even going to go like this as well. So I could choose to do this side as well, but I'm just keeping it all on this side. It's not always critical which side you choose. Some people will say it is, but you can get good results either way. So I'm now going to feather my edge. I'm going to start right here. Now I'm always looking for the bow in my knife to make sure that I've got it so it's rocking like this instead of leaving a convex side like that, concave, whichever. Okay, so it's just a quick, simple coat. And what I've done is I've left a nice little coat in here. And there's something to keep in mind. Your knife has a square edge. This edge right here, that edge is used to clean most of the mud off the other side of the wall. You can see there's mud on this side right here. So I'm now going to go like this. And here's a little tip. While I'm here, I may as well do a little work on this 3-way. Just put a little bit more mud here because that's going to help me be able to do a really nice job when I come back. Okay, we're going back to this joint here. A little bit of nublets in there. Get a nice amount of mud on my knife. I've got to redo this. When I'm slow, because I'm filming, the mud moves to the wrong spot of the knife. Again, feather my edge and coat. And that's really all it takes, but I got a bit of mud there, so I'm going to pass real quickly one more time to try and get that out by turning my knife a bit. That's better. I can live with that. Okay, let's do that one more time. You can see I've got a wet joint right here, so I'm going to stay a little bit away from that. Starting right here. And that's actually looking pretty good. So it's just a thin coat. It's like a 16th, between a 16th and an 1/8. And I can just barely not see the tape. That's what I'm going for. Right here I can see it shadowing through a tiny bit, but what I'm trying to do is just hide the tape. Put a little mud right in this spot right here. Won't hurt to do this. So right now I've got wet mud on this side. So what I'm doing is I'm actually just being really careful to try not to touch and gouge this side like I just did. But when I do short little runs like this, I actually don't worry about leaving a little blob. Get up right close. You can see there's this little blob in here. Well, I'd rather have this tiny little blob right here than be gouging into my work that I just did. These crumbs out that I carelessly left when I was taping. So this side is already coated, so I'm actually going to kind of ignore this side for right now. And I'm just going to come up to the ceiling. More mud in my eye. What is up with today? Feather my edge. And very carefully into the corner. And what I'm looking for is I'm just looking for all the mud to be nice and smoothed out. If I'm seeing a bunch of inconsistency and like little bubbly looking things, then it needs another pass. Oh boy, did I leave a lot down there, huh? Let's angle that knife a little more and get most of that. Okay, we're gonna leave that. I can live with that. And like I did on the other one, I'm just gonna do a little bit of something right here, just to make it so that those three ways come out real nice. And start right there. Oh, I've made a mess. So when you're in a renovation and you're doing the painted side, it often bubbles more. So keep that in mind. It's a little bit harder to get all the imperfections out over the painted surface. But what I like to do to help that is have my mud quite thick for corners. Well mixed and quite thick. So yep, feather my edge and now finish pass. And that's looking great. So I'm gonna let this all dry and I'm gonna come back and coat the other side. Okay, so these corners are dry. It's time to do day 2. We'll coat the other side. First, I just scrape them out if there's anything that needs to be scraped out. And then, yeah, it's pretty simple. It's just the exact same thing. And again, I just try to make sure that there's enough mud on there that I can't see that tape. Feather my edge. Get anything out of there that I don't want that's going to make sanding harder. All right, let's move on. Quick scrape. It always bubbles a little bit more on the ceiling, or not the ceiling, but the painted surface. And remember, I'm using that corner of the knife that's a little bit square to try and take out any globs from this guy right here up close, if you can see that. All right, I'm going to use the corner of my knife, and it should. That's better. Tape's looking nicely hidden. Quickly feather this edge. And I do that, of course, by bending the knife a whole bunch like that. Quite exaggerated. You need to push pretty hard. So where did we get to? This is looking okay, but needs a little bit of work. This one up here. Sometimes when it's that much there, you can just go like that. Oh, one more. There we go. Looking good. Almost done. And then there's a little bit there. I'm just gonna live with that because it'll come out when I'm sanding pretty quickly. And you can also tune up your 3-ways at this stage if you're really careful. Sort of place the corner of my knife. I sort of place the corner of my knife in and then gently rest it. So that should sand up quite nicely. Anyways, that's how I coat these corners, one side at a time. So it takes 2 days to get it looking nice, but they're looking good now. So anyways, thanks for watching Vancouver Carpenter. This is how I like to coat corners when I'm coating them by hand. And I've coated my hands really well too.